Just like that, it's time for our weekly roundup of all the things Lady just ain't gonna do this week. Number 1, political violence strikes again. Well, y'all, I don't want to be saying this, but it's true. Shit is getting really real when it comes to politics. This week, we learned that Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul Pelosi, was attacked in their San Francisco home by someone who allegedly wanted to hurt Nancy Pelosi. Now, if you don't know who Nancy Pelosi is, she is the Speaker of the House. She represents California. She's from San Francisco. And more than all that, she's in line for the presidency, like third in line or something like that. So there is so much to get into here. It's hard to figure out where to begin. But the first place we can start is that this is not something to look at lightly. I know, my loves. I've been breaking this down each week, saying similar things, but look, here's a tip. Don't look at these kinds of incidents like they're isolated. Don't look at them like they're random acts of violence. Nothing about this is random. And though you'd be right to say it's bizarre, you gotta know there's a growing faction in this country that is embroiled in conspiracy theories about powerful politicians running child sex rings out of pizza shops. Those people also believe that Donald Trump is the appointed leader of this country. Now, in every state in the nation, and I mean every single one, right now, at this moment, there are people running for office that are election deniers. Election deniers are people who believe that Donald Trump actually won the election in 2020. What's real is that we have to take this seriously. We have spent the better part of 6 years trying to understand where folks are coming from with this. So let me help you. I'm going to give you the Cliff Notes. This shit is dangerous and it should be treated as such. Look, hysteria is also a component of fascism. Irrational fears about change and who that change will benefit drives this kind of behavior. Now, perhaps if Republicans hadn't been slashing and burning funding for social services, we could provide the supports that people need to help manage fear about a changing and uncertain world, which those fears are human and normal. We have a series of public health crises on our hands that are going unaddressed. That's a fact, which is why you need to vote these people out who refuse to show up for their responsibility to address and resolve these problems. Trust me when I say this is a big problem now, and it can and will get worse if we don't stop it in its tracks. And we have a huge, and I mean huge, opportunity to do that with these upcoming midterm elections. Other things Lady just ain't gonna do this week. Takeoff from Migos is murdered in Houston. Now, the way my heart breaks about this is not really explainable. 28-year-old Takeoff from the rap group Migos was gunned down in Houston this week, allegedly during a dice game. Details are still forthcoming, but whatever the fuck it was, I know for sure it wasn't worth taking a young life over. Allegedly, there is also a video taken by somebody in his entourage of his dead body. Now, I'm not going to go on any kind of rant about the way in which we fail to value life. That's a fact. We know that. I don't think the lyrics of these rappers encourage people to be violent. I don't believe that. What I actually think is that we have, and have always had, a culture that resolves conflicts with weapons. And that tradition carries on today. Now, when you couple that with gun laws that literally put guns in the hands of anybody who wants one, well, that's where the shit gets atrocious. I blame the people who make the laws about guns, or rather refuse to make laws about guns. I blame a culture that devalues our lives and teaches us to do the same with each other. And I mourn this young life that was taken senselessly. And I grieve for all the people who are left behind without their loved one, who should still be here with us. Now, I also believe that Black men deserve to grow old. My condolences to Takeoff and his family and friends. And as for me, I'm going to work and keep working to build the power we need to make the rules and change the rules so that we can stop stacking dead bodies. Other things Lady just ain't gonna do this week, Elon Musk taking over Twitter. Okay, look, I don't even like Twitter like that, but I know some of y'all do. And given that, after this week, you should be very, very concerned about the future of that platform, and in particular, your safety on it. For months now, there has been a lot of back and forth about how Twitter was going to be sold to billionaire Elon Musk, founder of Tesla. But more than being a billionaire, he's a billionaire with some weird-ass ideas about, I don't know, life. He's indicated all along that he intends to make Twitter a pay-to-play public square. And once he finally took over the platform, he went ahead and fired a bunch of people who were responsible for, regulating the platform. Now, word out on the street is that he met with some civil rights leaders this week and agreed to a bunch of demands around user safety. And he tweeted about his commitments today, which included not allowing anyone who was deplatformed, like Trump or Kanye, back on the platform until there was a clear process for doing so. And including the civil rights community in a content moderation council that they're developing. Kanye shrug. Good for them for holding his feet to the fire. And I want to say that I don't actually have a ton of hope that the platform is not going to become even more of a cesspool than it is right now. But Godspeed, Twitter users. Your free time is most likely limited, and I mean that figuratively and literally. Okay, well, here's what we want more of this week, though. Number one, and high as fuck on the list, Lula wins the election in Brazil in a victory for fucking humanity, okay? This week's news about Brazil was like a breath of fresh air for those of us who've been concerned about this racist, right-wing conservative movement gaining steam across the globe. Now, in one of the closest races I've seen in a minute, leftist candidate Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva eked out a victory over current president Jair Bolsonaro. Now, in the last presidential election, Lula da Silva was barred from even running for president because he was in jail on what appeared to be politically motivated charges of taking a bribe or some shit for construction contracts. Now, those charges mysteriously disappeared, but hey, we know what the far right is known for doing is cheating because they haven't earned a mandate to lead. So this is really just par for the course. Much work will need to be done to solidify this victory and move Brazil forward amidst increasing poverty and destruction of the Amazon rainforest. Unfortunately, Lula will face stiff opposition from Brazil's Congress, where Bolsonaro's allies have won a majority of the seats. But stay tuned for more news about the changes in Brazil as they unfold. You can always, as usual, find those here. Other things Lady loves this week, elections, which are coming next week, like on Tuesday and shit. And after months of organizing and agonizing, to be honest, elections are upon us. This has started to become one of Lady's favorite times of year, as finally we can get some damn resolution and see if our organizing paid off. Kind of like tending a garden and checking for fruit. Now, I can't emphasize enough how important these elections are, and I am telling you without a hint of drama, and I mean not a hint, that what is at stake in this election cycle is whether or not we are on a path to having more elections, or none at all. Now, I'm fucking serious about this, so if you've been standing on the sidelines thinking this shit don't matter for your life, trust me, it does. And more than that, just think about it this way. I would rather you have the choice to vote than not have a choice at all. So let's work together on that. On the ballot are the people who make the rules about whether or not you can vote and under what conditions. Those people are the Secretary of State. Also, the people who sign or don't sign laws that you care about once they've been negotiated by your representatives, those are your governors. They are also on the ballot. Who represents you in Congress is on the ballot. So vote. It takes literally no time at all to secure your future. Plus, you get a cool sticker and you get to be on the right side of history. Imagine that. If you want more information on what's on the ballot and who is on the ballot in your state and what they do, go to www.black2thefuture.org. All you got to do is plug in your zip code and your address, and voila, all you need to know about who's trying to represent you. See you on Election Day. I mean, I already voted 2 whole ass weeks ago, but you still have time.